So, hello, my friends. Welcome to the VibeCoders. We are here in this episode with my co-host Sam Talariaco. Sam.
Hi. What's up, everyone? I'm Sam.
And we are very happy to launch this project that is the podcast of the VibeCoders. Here we are talk about our builds, our entrepreneur world, and how we get into Base 44. So Sam, tell us first where are you from, how old are you, and how you became a vibe coder.
Of course. Well, first off, welcome. This is super awesome. So again, my name is Sam Tellerico. I'm 27. I'm from the United States. I started in Base 44 this last September in 2025. My background, it's in hospitality, food and beverage. I've just initially started building applications for my family's catering company, and then I got addicted. Base 44 has that trajectory of once you get in, it just sucks you right in. So since then, I've been building anything and everything that comes across my desk, and it's really changed my life. So welcome to everyone. We, on every episode, are going to be joined by ambassadors, founders, creators, and innovators sharing what they're building, how they're building it, and the lessons they're learning along the way.
So, my friends, let me introduce this special guest that we have. All of us, we are from the program of Founder Ambassadors 66. We were chosen from 1,200, I think. So I'm very proud to be with you guys in this podcast. I want to learn a lot about your stories, about why we are here. So let me introduce Katie Brown from England. She built AnyGeek. So I want to know, Katie, the moment that somebody told you Base 44, so how you Base 44 and you start build your app, and what is your app?
So I found Base 44 because I was just being bombarded with YouTube ads. And I presume it was because I was looking to build a custom CRM system. And I just went on there, tried it out, and then I just haven't stopped building since. Kind of built AnyGeek by accident because I didn't realise what the platform was capable of. So I just carried on, and just it is where it is now because the whole thing's made me completely unstoppable. So,
what is AnyGeek exactly?
So it's a platform for performers and entertainers. They can go and list their own acts on there, list their profiles on there to get work, and just somewhere where they can be independent. They don't rely on an agent to take a cut from their fees. They can do it all themselves, and it's hopefully to replace greedy agents that don't end up paying performers properly.
Perfect. And now it's an MVP, and you are promoting. It's a startup. Where are you now?
We have performers on there. We are pushing socials slowly, so trying to build organic following rather than just going crazy on there, and then transferring people from socials over to our community that we're building on Discord, in the hope that we can build a performer network where everyone can help each other. So if a performer runs into trouble, they don't get paid, then they've got somewhere they can turn to. They can come into the community, get help and advice from everyone else that's in there, exactly how we do with Base, almost. So Sam, actually, you heading up the community in Base 44, that's actually taught me so much. And I just think it's quite effective way to keep your users and help your users and try and build a place for them so that you can help them rather than your competitors.
That's marvelous.
That's amazing, Katie. I actually, sorry, Jordi, I just wanted to jump in because I'm super curious. I want to ask this to all the ambassadors. What were you doing before this project? And do you have any prerequisites that would have led into this build?
Yeah, so I was building somebody else's businesses before this. So I was building all of this guy's entertainment app businesses. He had a failing talent agency, so I decided to take the talent and turn it into acts rather than trying to keep finding these people jobs and then taking a commission from them. So I turned performers looking for jobs into performers who could fulfill acts and then promote and sell those acts to earn more money. And then that guy didn't pay me. So I am where I am because I got shafted almost.
Zach, tell us your story. Where are you from? What is your build? And all about your projects. And introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm Zach Wright, founder of Grapevine Workplace. And before I was doing this, my background is in strategy and operations and B2B SaaS technology companies. And so for the last 5 to 10 years, I know that's a big gap, but 5 to 10 years I've been leading RevOps, go-to-market operations, and also OKRs for publicly traded companies, startups, GovTech. And the last company that I was working at full-time was acquired, and once that was acquired, I had a little bit of RSUs or restricted stock units, not enough to get rich, but enough to take a chance on myself. And so what I actually did was I had this idea for Grapevine. It used to be Grapevine Software, and I'll talk about that pivot in a second. But after the acquisition, I reached out, because this was before like Base 44 was really anything or any of the other AI coding tools out there. So I hired a development firm from Pakistan, and the CEO was in UK, and he would go back and forth from UK and Saudi Arabia. And I worked with them for 2 years. I spent over 125K. I don't like saying that, it still hurts. And after 2 years of working with them, I realized that one, we didn't have enough traction because a couple of things, like the product wasn't matching the vision. The people that I was speaking to loved what I was trying to build, but our product wasn't matching. We weren't moving fast enough. And it got to the point where the money couldn't continue just to filter through without the income coming in or the revenue. And so kind of like Sam, the last year around August or September, I started thinking about how can I continue to do this without spending as much dollars or needing anyone else really. And so I started looking around at tools like Lovable, Bolt, you name the other ones out there. Bolt 44 or Base 44 like stood out to me because everything was all in one place. So I didn't have to worry about like the back end or the front end or connecting this to Supabase or anything like that. And at first I kind of lied to myself and said, okay, this is a hobby. I'm gonna see what I can do, kind of like what Katie was saying. I'm gonna see what I can do with Base 44, and exactly the same experience that she had. I basically replicated what we built in 2 years in probably about 3 months. And then on top of that, I mean, Base 44 just moved so quickly. So the MVP that I started with of their complete rebuild, like I threw out every single code, every piece of software that we had and started from scratch directly in Base 44. And I was able to actually build the software that I was trying to build. And we also went through a pivot. So where we were, I called it like a virtual HQ or a virtual office platform. Now we're more focused on productivity suite. So we can compete with Notion, ClickUp. I mean, even like Google Workspaces, Microsoft. I know that's scary to say out loud, but we target specific a specific ICP. So our platform is a work management system for B2B agencies, so they can manage multiple projects, team communication and collaboration, and client work all within the same system. And so, I mean, that's my journey so far in Base 44.
Where are you based, Zach?
Yeah. So I'm in Concord, North Carolina. It's just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. Most people don't know about Concord.
But
yeah, that's my story.
And how old are you, Zach?
I'm 36. I just turned 36 May 2nd.
Oh, perfect. And now let's continue with one ambassador VibeCoder that I want to hear your story, Andrew. I want to know how you are fighting with the machines and how you're training robots, what you did before to be a VibeCoder. So introduce yourself, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hey, so my journey starts off when I was a young kid. I started out in technology when I was young, around 9, taking shit apart, putting it back together. My parents would hate it. That led me into computer programming, so I learned like Visual Basic, C++, and all that around like 11 or 10 years old. Around that time was around like high school, so I was into advanced technology, such as computer network administration, computer repair, gaming development, and all that in high school. And then at some point, I just kind of said, I don't care anymore. I stopped getting into technology because I saw how fast everything was growing, and I felt like I couldn't catch up at that point. So I kind of left technology for a while. I got back in when I was a little bit older, and that led me into kind of entrepreneurship, business development. So kind of shifting away from just being a coder to more implementing it into businesses and things like that. So I found Base 44 based on, like Katie said, through YouTube ads. They would just plummet me with ads all day. Even now, I still get ads repetitively, and I'm an ambassador. And I try to ask, how can I stop these ads? Because every other ad on YouTube is Base 44. And it's just, this is great and all, but we're wasting money here, you know?
How old are you, Andrew?
I just turned 31 on Monday. So I am freshly 31. I'm enjoying it. My son is 5, so I'm a full custody dad. I take care of him. This is kind of my full-time job. I look for full-time and real-life kind of positions, but this one pays a little bit better, and it gives me more flexibility with my son. So Tricks is basically something, there was a Anthropic video that came out, and they were talking about everybody's building this, building that, and he wanted people to level up their ideas and kind of progress into these 4 or 5 sectors that we're going to boost within the next 10 years. So I really had to sit down and think to myself, you know, what's not going to be popular now, but will be in 10 years. So I looked back when I was a kid. We had the Apple iPhone, and I specifically remember the developer kits coming out for the app stores, and I was trying to learn how to make apps. And I was like, how the fuck can I make an app if I don't have a phone? And that was my whole stopping point there. I was like, how does this even work? So now I'm at this point where they're telling me what to do. They've given me the tools, and all I have to do is find the idea and build it. So basically the idea of Tricks was the robotic task platform or app store. So essentially you'll be able to go in, look for any kind of tasks that you want to train your robot for, such as you want your robot to pet your cat or something. You know, that's not something you typically would want your robot just to go and do, because safety reasons, you don't want, you know, any kind of insecure touching. I wouldn't want a robot around my animals, at least yet. So it's just a way for the robots to gain their ROS2 training abilities, so they can learn specific tasks to niches. I find that later on, when we all get our own little personal robots, we're all going to want it to do our little niche tasks. But those aren't going to be available. The robot is going to have to be able to learn and train on how you want it to perform. So that's kind of the build here. We made a generator that puts together all the ROS2 packages. So I'm testing it right now in a visualizer. So I'm trying to get the Unitree 3D models right now. Trying to put all that together to simulate it first. And then the next approach would be kind of fundraising and getting a hold of one of those robots. But those are $2, $3, $4, $15,000. So I'm starting low. I started with my iRobot vacuum. I'm sure some of you have seen that. I connected my robot to Base 44, the vacuum. The only benefit or negative is that it doesn't have the ROS2 capabilities. I can't send my tasks to it, such as what I'm building here. It connects to the Shark server API, and it tells it what to do there. So my next goal would be to find such as like a ROS2 device, such as like the Reachy Mini, or Sony just came out with their new little puppy device. I forgot what it's called. And that's kind of the next goal for me, is getting my hands on something I can actually test to push these tasks out for. I just think it's going to be a big market in the future. It would be a task marketplace for your robots, or an app store for your robots, something where your robots will have a place to learn, kind of train like an academy.
That's amazing.
Well, any other questions, let me know. Base 44 has changed my life pretty impactfully. Before I was trying to do graphic design. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do websites, but there's all these new things coming out. Base 44 just integrated it for me so well, obviously based on some learning capabilities. It makes it super easy for me to formulate my ideas and just push it to market ASAP.
That, Andrew, I'm blown away. Just everything you just said, I had no idea how. I mean, that's just amazing what you're building. What comes to my mind, just from, because like, not in these words, just I get asked all the time from so many different people. Like, everyone is so misunderstood about vibe coding, about AI. What would be your biggest piece of advice coming from your background and from the more technical and builder side, like actual hands-on? How would you put them at ease to help them understand like the significance and or safety of what's to come?
That's a pretty risky topic, because the foreseeable future is going to go up drastically. They're coming out with all these new laws. I saw that they were pushing out a new law to regulate AI until it's under an official government review. So I think that now is the perfect time to hop in, but there's going to be regulations down the road, I think. So if you kind of learn and get the good abilities, and now you're going to uppercut yourself on the market later on. Because all these regulations come in, we're not going to know what the future is going to look like, or what they're going to allow, disallow, if they're going to ban something. So I think learning now is good for the future. Take it now while you can. But the biggest negative for me with vibe coding and Base 44 is you forget how to code. You don't look at your code. You don't look at what you're doing. You're just coding. So I think there is a positive and a negative to it, but I think that everybody should also do courses and research and learn the actual code.
I have
because
some
that's what's going to
questions.
save them in the future when they have people coming asking them questions on the developer side, or if they ever go to market, or they have investors looking in. I mean, they're going to want to know.
Exactly what the next topic that we want to discuss. Let me introduce Sam T, the other Sam T, Tisdale. So Sam, you are a community leader of Base 44. You are, I want to know your story, if you were a normal coder before, now you're a vibe coder, how you became community leader in Base 44, how you know about also in YouTube ads. So tell us the story.
Sure. First off, hello, it's nice to meet all of you. Nice to put a face to most of your names. So my journey is a little bit unique. I'll tell it from start to finish. I do waffle a lot, so if you need to cut me off, just shout at me, it's fine.
Don't worry.
My journey is unique in that I do not come from a programming background. I come from an IT background. I was an IT manager, and prior to that, an IT engineer, and that was sort of my industry pathway in the UK. For the UK folk in here, I worked initially as an IT engineer at the NHS. So standard pathway out of education here is just go straight into the health service and work your way up the ropes until you've got enough experience to get in the door somewhere else, which is what my journey initially looked like until I became an IT engineer / manager at an SME in my town, so a very, very small company, not doing anything related to the space we're currently in. My online passions and sort of interests have always been within computers, tech to whatever degree necessary, really. And I've always been. It depends on how you frame it. I mean, I'll go into some sort of pathways so you can understand sort of my headspace. But when, you know, my road as an engineer and therefore a manager meant that I had workflows, boring stuff that needed to be done, Excel documents, graphs, productions, you know, Power BI stuff that takes everybody hours, right? And I didn't really have a pathway as a non-coder. I mean, I knew some code. I've dabbled in VSC. I know a bit of Python, know a bit of C++, and have done that from a childhood, just exploring, but nothing that would be get me in the foot in any job, through the door kind of thing. So for me, the explosion and sort of the trajectory that started to where I am today began during the pandemic, the COVID era, which was also incidentally the rise of ChatGPT. And what I started to do when ChatGPT came around is, probably a prerequisite and caveat to this is that I'm a very creative person, but I cannot draw. Like, metaphorically speaking, I have a head full of ideas and I am incapable of execution. So I may be able to create a tapestry or something beautiful in terms of, my vision, but I would never be able to draw it. So with the rise of ChatGPT, the first thing I did, which was actually not that common back in sort of 2020, 2021, was try and bend ChatGPT to my will to essentially make it a slaved programmer to me. It's like, I can't code, but I know you can, so let's work on projects. Now, this whole workflow looked like, PRD something, come up with a creative idea, document it end to end, and then have the programmer. This is old ChatGPT, so this is like no short-term memory and no context history either. So it was dreadful. But the idea was it would do code. I would output it into and take it off GPT and put it into VSC, spin up Python servers, things like this, and make my life and workflows for my job as an IT manager easier, quicker, faster, but not really more than that. Never really took on a passion project. And ironically, like the rest of the people in this call, last year with the Wix acquisition of Base, I saw a YouTube ad, which I still see today, even as an employee. And I had been using and leveraging GPT to do my tasks for years at this point, so best part of half a decade. And when I saw the advert for no code, really it was kind of an eyes closed moment for me rather than an eyes open, because it was the first I'd seen, and it was Base 44. Now, obviously, fast forward to where I am now, and I know of the competitive landscape of no code, but back then I didn't. This was something I was seeing on YouTube for the first time, and the first thing I thought was, what a load of nonsense. I was like, that's not real. That can't be real. Built-in backends and being able to speak in plain text English and output code is like the process I'd been doing for the past half decade, but without the hurdles and the legwork required from the human operator. So I didn't believe it. And what I did to test that belief is I signed up for Base without paying a plan. This was June last year. And I pulled out the most abstract, hard to execute, creative thing I had in my head, which if I had the confidence to take on over the previous 5 years with GPT, I would have been running around in circles because of the complexity of it. And I went with Base and never stopped with Base until it was on iOS, Android, developed and pushed out as not only an app but a business. So I just sprung up a limited company, etc. And I saw immediate success with the business. It started to naturally pop off in my local community where I am. And I attributed this, I've told this story before, but I attribute all of this really to the community, which is where I've landed today. Obviously, sort of some of that story. But the journey for me looked like, signing up in June on Base, putting pen to paper on what my idea was in my head, developing it with Base and hitting insane roadblocks that just felt, unsurpassable. Like I couldn't get past them. They were too high in terms of their peaks. So the first thing I did as an avid gamer, as someone that's been on the internet chronically for 30 years, is I went to Discord, which is where I always hang, prior to Base. I've got friendship groups and as long as time over here, migrated from the old days of Skype and prior to that Ventrilo. So, long OG in that sense. So I went to Discord basically initially to get help. So there's some irony in that I appreciate. And that was with things like, which is still obviously a day-to-day problem with a lot of our users, is like, how do we convert to apps. How do we get this off the platform in the sense of it's still, Now, we obviously have a solution for that now, but my solution that's on both app stores is not using that solution because I had my app on both app stores 4 months prior to that being developed. And again, similar to Zach's story there is I used an Indian agency, a lad from India who's now actually a base partner due to me, which is cool. So he's come over. You'll have seen him in the Discord if you hang there. He's called Shafiq. He's an awesome lad, very, very talented in the mobile space. So he did my work for me. And I learned so much by asking questions, and naturally what came out of that is I wanted to give back. So, come to like July, August time when my app's out there in the space, 1,000 users initially, 1,000 downloads on the app stores within the first week, that kind of thing. Lead sponsoring a local show in the NEC, that way, down that way. So like I did quite a lot with my app, and I was like, I really want to pay this back. So I'd already started doing this, but I really thought I'm going to dedicate my free time to this. So whilst also being an IT manager and having a 9 to 5, my outside of working hours basically was living chronically online in the Discord, sometimes till 3 a.m. on sort of Mondays and Tuesdays, and just making sure that the people that gave me answers, like-minded people in my shoes now that had come into the Discord with the same questions.
You also are building things?
Not now, but I mean I am. I build things on a day-to-day basis, but not as a staff member, no. But yes, my journey to where I am today is seeing an ad, like all of us, becoming a user, becoming a power user with a business and a deployed application on all platforms, becoming the first moderator due to my presence in the Discord and owning that and making sure people get looked after, into becoming one of the first 3 partners of the platform, into leading the moderator program for the best part of 6 months, being chronically online 24/7 every single day, even over the Christmas period, which was not a comfortable period. If you were here at base at that time, it was not great. And into a job opportunity that I saw in, I think it was early February, applying, and the rest is history. I've landed on my feet with my job title as community engagement manager, but my passion, and that my entry point to Base 44 was exactly the same of all of you, is really the case of like, maybe a little bit different for me in the sense of I didn't believe it. I came in with previous goals that I'd never been able to fulfill as a non-developer. I always understood the workflows, the parameters required to execute builds, and I knew what I would need. Like, for example, if I wanted to build the app I have built as a business on Base, I could have put it on paper and hired a team to do it. I would have known what developers I'd need, what languages they'd need to program in, and what the scope of that would look like. Would I ever be able to do it myself? No. And did I ever have the overhead budget to be able to have a go at that, like Zach said? Not at all. So to me, they were always like hobbies, back of the mind things of maybe the space opens up in the future from a financial point of view where I can have a bit of fun with this. Didn't need to, because Base comes around the corner for me and basically enabled me as a sole person in an office to be able to create something it would take 3 years ago, it would have taken a team of people a year to execute. So I mean, yeah, I mean my app is pretty unique in what it does, but it also is really technical. Like, it's leveraging external render.com platform services that run Python scripts on everything users upload. There's many API integrations. I have a full custom bespoke machine learning algorithm that is closed loop, so when the user uploads an image, it goes through to Python scripts that strip the data from the image, then pushes it to a machine learning algorithm that then comes back into Base and outputs it to the user. If the user then makes any adjustments on screen to the image that's presented in front of them, it goes into a queue that is approved by an admin, and once the admin approves it, it goes back through to the machine learning, teaching it how to better produce results. And all of what I've just described was actually complete by August last year. So I found the ad was June and the business was formed in July, and I led a show in September, October.
The next question for all of you, my friends, is you consider yourself now as a VibeCoder? This is a new word. Like 1 year ago here, I never hear that word. When I start to hear, you're a VibeCoder. What? Yeah, really? I'm a VibeCoder? So let's begin with my co-host Sam T2. You consider yourself as a VibeCoder? You think it's a proper word, or it's like the coders will say, you are not a coder. You just say, blah, 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 blah. So what do you think about that?
No, yeah, I mean, I mean, initially when I first started and I was like posting and I was all high and mighty on myself, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a coder, I'm this, I'm that. And then as I got into it more and more, and tried to code things myself, like going into Cursor or Python or ChatGPT and kind of iterating back and forth. Like initially, I was trying to minimize my base credit usage. So like I would get a base app, then I'd go back into ChatGPT or Cursor, put in the code or connect it, say what I wanted different, and then try and iterate on it and go back and forth. It worked, but it was a lot of work to like keep doing that, and I kept breaking things because I didn't have the full back end knowledge of like what I was really doing. So I mean, hats off to all of you in here that actually know what you're doing in the coding sense of it, because that is immense. It's crazy. I don't consider myself like a full-on coder or developer. I actually hold it as a badge of honor that being a VibeCoder. It definitely holds stigma to those that may not understand it, or those that are maybe afraid of AI and they see that like I don't know. I play around with terminology. Like some people might think it's like, oh, that's kind of juvenile to be considered that when I'm 27, I have 2 kids. And they're like, that's what you're doing in your free time? Yeah, I am. And I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I do it every day. I'm making more money doing this than any of my other ventures that I've done. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just also, it takes trial and error, just like everything else. If you're using Base 44 or any of these vibe coding applications, to some extent you are a vibe coder, and whether you like it or not, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, I wear that hat with pride.
You're a good vibe coder. Zach, tell us, you feel comfortable with the word? You
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like the word vibe code because, and this is just my opinion,
yeah,
I think that
the name of the podcast, man. Nah, I'm joking.
No, I know. But if I'm not true to myself, then I can't live correctly. So I'm not a fan of the term vibe code just because it sounds like you're not all the way in on it. And so what I'm trying to build, I truly want to go against these giants that are out there. And I do think that there's like a negative stigma to vibe coding versus coding. And so whenever I'm speaking to prospects, I still have to balance, like in some cases, if the prospects and I connect, then I can talk freely about like, yeah, I'm building this on Base 44. But in some cases, I don't necessarily hide it, but I don't put it to the front just because I think that there still is this misconception that AI coding is different than coding. It's not. It just allows more people to be able to take their ideas.
That you are not working like the AI.
Yeah, well, not even that. Not even that. It's more about the platform itself, right? Like I think the people who are coding versus people who are vibe coding or using AI to code, I think that there's this misconception that there's a difference there. And the misconception really is like, what do you know behind the scenes, right? Like whenever I was working with the Pakistan development team, I learned a lot on product development, project management, how to go about certain things. I've managed technical people in the past, like sales engineers and different things like that. So I know certain things that I have to do from a product perspective versus someone vibe coding that might not know that their code is spaghetti, right? And so I think like, and this is just my true opinion of it, I don't like hate the term vibe coding. I don't like what is attached to it by people who don't fully understand it. So
no, yeah.
Sorry, Sam. Sorry.
No, just quick. I was just gonna say I totally hear where you're coming from, Zach. Actually, my most recent client that reached out to me, and I've never actually had to sign a NDA in this sense. where they came to me to start building this app. And when I put my pitch out there and said how I was going to build it, the first question back is, so you're not going to be hand coding all of this? You're going to be using a vibe coding application? And that's when I kind of had to take a second and make sure that I framed it correctly, because I 100%, like, I hear where you're coming from, and I agree. It's like that stigma, having to help them understand that it is legitimate, it's real, and it's not just going to be some toy. Like, it actually is going to put out a genuine product that is going to work. It is going to make their clients happy. So no, yeah, just wanted to just put that out there, because I hear that every day from clients, and it is all about selling it correctly to them, because once they have buy-in, it's all uphill.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, like, one of the ways around this, if you experience it, is, I mean, you don't want to give away your product for free necessarily, but run them through a pilot and let them actually experience the product. Because whenever our prospects that turn customers experience the platform, the vibe coding element of the stigma goes away completely, because they understand, like, okay, I've used ClickUp, I've used Notion, this is the best product that I've seen out there, and it just happens to be coded through Base 44.
Agreed.
I want to hear the Katie opinion.
I don't class myself as a vibe coder or a coder, just a builder. So it's more of like a creative level for me, rather than it just allows me to do anything that my mind thinks of, rather than me actually being a coder. I think vibe coding is something that I do, not something that I am, if that makes sense.
You, Andrew? You are in mute.
Yeah, I had myself on mute. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, the stigma, like Zach was saying, there's a huge stigma about it. You try to recommend it to somebody, and they assume that they can just go to Claude and do it. I mean, sure, you can go to Claude and do it. I see so many people online going, well, I built my app in Claude. How do I get it onto a domain and this and that? And I repeatedly have to say, go to Base 44, try Base 44, go to Base 44. And they ask, like, how do we do this? How do we do that? And every single thing Base 44 has included. And I think that just the whole vibe coding stigma is scaring people off sometimes, and especially newer clients that I'm trying to get. You mention anything around, you know, a week out and you're going to be done for a basic landing page, and there's a huge stigma about how is that so quick and why are you so cheap? I should go the more expensive option. I mean, there's just all these things where the stigma is around how quickly you can produce, the cost to produce it, and everything. And I even push out, I'm an ambassador for Base, and I have, you know, a decent amount of credits I can help push towards your project, and they still don't care. They don't care that I have all the integrations for them. I can put up their Discord, their Instagram.
Who don't care? Sorry.
What's up?
Who don't care about that?
The clients. I mean, you'll throw out something, and it's just they want results and money. But it's hard to even get in with a client when you're starting off on that vibe coding stigma. And not as far as like a real developer that's going to take 6, 7, 8 months to develop it, you know. I don't understand some logic there, and I think it's just the stigma in people. And we'll get over it sometime soon.
All of you guys, you think that this stigma is gonna end like when I am older than you, like almost more than 10 years. And I remember when I used to go to Blockbuster to rent a VHS or DVD, and the people and Netflix start to, and oh no, we go to the, and now who knows about Blockbuster, and everybody is streaming everything. The World Cup is gonna stream before that. So I think it's gonna be like this. Now the kids are VibeCoders. They're gonna make better things, maybe that the software engineers from Harvard in 2 months. So we are the guys that need to say, hey, no, this is AI, but with humans. Because it's not just the page, it's the system. I want that these things do this and this with this, when this with this. O sea, it's not like do boo 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 boo. It's not a prompt. I've been doing a page, that a regular builder will charge me a lot. And yeah, I've been making like 3,000 credits in this, but it works, and it works like wow. So my next question is, you think that the problems with the cyber security things that now they are like, you think this gonna fix in some months? In base 44 there are like, now Sam tell us 20 people fixing cybersecurity things and all this to be regular websites, apps?
Yeah, Sam had mentioned yesterday how if you want security, you have to build it yourself. Base 44 has its own built-in security as far as their data, but Base 44 does not secure your website specifically if you don't put in those regulations. And I feel like people, like we mentioned before, how people go into vibe coding without the coding knowledge or this and that. People are going into vibe coding without the security knowledge. And
well, it's more of a system. It's more of a systems knowledge, right? Like security encompasses that, and I think that just to harp on your point there, I think the term is the base is in enabler. Like it enables you to deal with your security, and the unknown and the question mark in the space. Coming back to the vibe coding term, is that people just don't know that, so they're unaware and oblivious because it's not. If you're a 51-year-old mother from Wisconsin, like with no technical background at all, you can build your baking shop in 5 minutes now, right? But how do they know what security is?
They don't.
How do they know what marketing is? So, like, these are the questions you get to with people that are inexperienced in this space.
Can you speak a lot more about security? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about whatever you want. I mean,
about
go on, sorry. You want to talk about security? I mean, listen, I mean, most of security comes down to, I mean, we've done this session several times on office hours, but most of security will come down to basic CRUD, which stands for create, read, update, and delete, and this is your control mechanism for database entities. So really what people don't know, and is what we've sorted with the security scan, is that everything you make that stores a record in the application is entirely down to you to secure, right? And that's what people don't appreciate, is that they might build their shopfront and store on their website and they make it look beautiful and they publish it and buy a domain so that it's at janescakes.com. They don't know.
That's me. Yeah. You're talking to me.
They don't know. They don't know that anyone with brain cells can go onto the landing page of that.
Why can I tell you this guy? Hey, my page is gonna be secure, and I'm this guy that I never coded before in my life, like even a PowerPoint, I think.
Well, we're doing the steps that we as base are doing. I mean, just bear in mind, I'm not from product, so like my entire job is community, it's looking after you folks. So I'm very invested in product because I love base so much, but it's not part of my job. So there is a distancing from that, just to keep you in the loop here. But the way that we intend to handle that going forward is to make things like mandatory security scans, like pre-publish. So like you don't need to know if you need security if you literally can't publish your app because the security isn't been scanned and sorted. So like these are like the safeguarding mechanisms that, you know, moving forward in the space are going to enable people to have more secure apps out of the box. Like I said, in harping on Andrew's point there before, is that like base is an enabler of security. There's no reason why your apps can't be perfectly safe. An app built by a non-coder with no software engineering experience or product management experience will not know that their app is not secure. And if they don't do anything about it, it will be insecure. Because there will be people out there. There are malicious people, a lot of people. And it's very apparent for the apps that we create at staff facing. So when we create a staff app, for example, the Shark Tank app for the event this week, if we don't do the security, within 5 minutes of a social push, we have people trying to pen test it, to break it, to inject it, to be malicious, to delete all of your entries, to give everybody credits that they shouldn't have. Like, this is the standard part of the world now, and if you won't have that usually if you publish an app, it's, you know, local to you. But if your app saw any form of success, you would experience the same thing too. So, and this is why we're taking sort of safeguarding mechanisms going forward in terms of preventing people from publishing if the security isn't implemented.
Which guy is the security master in the ambassadors or the group? You know somebody?
I don't know about. I mean, listen. Whenever it came to me, I'm not an expert in security. I understand how to navigate it and how to make my apps secure, but I am no means a developer or a SecOps. It's not my job. If I needed someone, it wouldn't be that I had someone on speed dial. Maybe I do now as a base staff. I probably do, right? But if I was in your shoes, the thing I would be doing is going. There probably are ambassadors, and I wish I could name them. I just don't. Also, probably not something I should be doing with my job is advocating for people getting payment. So but I would load in my shoes, if we were asking the same question as when I was a power user, I would go to the partner program and filter it on people that are claiming to be security experts, and then ask them, say, look, this is the outlay of my project, I'm not secure right now, please do some safe pen testing on it, and you know, and if I think you're right for the job, I'll hire you. But I do want to, you know, what would it be in terms of a podcast if you didn't have a base staff member on that was going to give a spoiler? So let's give a spoiler. Okay, there is a new feature coming that the ambassadors will have first, which is two spoilers in one.
Perfect.
Which is going to be a full end-to-end testing agent. So you are going to have to some degree, a light pen testing human built into every app that you build. So you'll be able to customize it in terms of like what you want it to test. Now, I think if any of you have tuned into my office hours, I've actually gone on about how to produce one of these manually through a super agent in creating an end-to-end tester. You're now, you know, in the not-so-distant future, going to have the ability to have these built-in, baked into your app from the get-go, and it'll be like underneath the publish button. Are you all right? That when you go to publish, it will enforce a test, and you'll be able to run the test at any time. The test will have context applied as well, so it'll understand what your app is trying to achieve and how it achieves those goals, and the tester will essentially run a simulation against all of it. Whenever it detects something's insecure, it'll have a fix with AI, send a fix prompt to the chat. So like a full enclosed end-to-end tester testing agent is coming soon to base 44, and that is another massive leap forward in protecting the average civilian builder, you know, that wants to build something for themselves and doesn't know anything about security. So, and like I said, just as a teaser, you ambassadors and a select handful of other people will get access to that feature first.
The experiment.
That is just so odd. If you wouldn't mind, Jordi, I just had a question, just because I get this a lot, and it's something personally for me too. So Sam, in terms of when you're vibe coding or giving advice for security, do you advise people to do like prior to the spoiler that you just said? Would you advise people to do security right up front? Or at the end of the app?
At the end of the app. I would do it before you intend it to be in the hands of real users, right at the last minute. The reason for that is every time you prompt anything in a base 44 app or any vibe-coded app, the security is entirely invalidated. So, like, you need to be doing it right at the very end of your project life cycle, as best as your ability, which is why I always recommended at least having a basic understanding of RLS and security in general, so you can understand why we do that. And if you were to be forced to manually do it, you'd have at least a good grasp of it, but you don't have to manually do it. So my advice to everybody with security, again, prior to the testing agent and things like that, is you do your project to 99%, and then you do your security, and you'll find that if you don't do it that way, everything breaks every time you do your security. So it's just it's not really a viable approach. There is, like, you can do pillars or like stages or milestones where you can go, okay, I'm going to get to version 2 and the version 5 is prod, so let's go every version milestone we do a full security audit and fix anything that we've done over the past week. That's another strategy approach, but usually you'll often find yourself duplicating work there, because at the end of it you'll have to do a full audit on everything anyway. So my advice to anybody prior to this release is, you know, build your app first, don't deploy it. As in, two differences, by the way, people don't understand this. You should be publishing your app pretty much all the time is how you test, right? But like, deployment is intentionally giving it to users. It's putting it into the World Wide Web. It's sorting SEO and GEO, and it's publishing marketing strategies and making sure people get use cases on this. Like, you can publish this whenever, but the moment that you intend for real people that you don't have control of having access of the app, you need to fix the security.
Perfect. Sam, we are the time is running. We have like 12 minutes more, but I have a question for Sam Talariaco. how you know when you recommend to be affiliate to someone or partner, or I build you, or I recommend you base. My question, you understand my question? O sea, you're an affiliate and you are a partner. How you know when you say, I go to base, use my link and do yourself, like referral, or hey, I do it for you. How you difference that?
Oh, interesting question. Because I mean, like, from the sales part of me, or like marketing, like I want to be able to make that money and build for other people as well. Just, calling a spade a spade. But at the end of the day, I know I can't do everything. And I think a big part of me is I'm a people pleaser. So I always want to try and help and build as much as possible. Like, some of the partner requests or people that come through and ask for a build, I'm not able to like dedicate the time to actually do all of it. So I will either, if I can just give them advice, I'll just give them some free advice and point them in the direction of base 44. But if it's something I know I can do and I have the time for, then that's something where then I will go through and try and build it for them, build out a contract and scope. I think it's definitely something hard being a partner, is you want to take on as many clients as possible, but what I've learned in my personal life is when you take on too much, then you hurt everything, because you cannot do everything. Like I try and then I fail at everything. So taking more of a small bite of that pie, and then just saying, hey, I'm pretty good friends with another partner, Andre, and I will refer people directly to him or to other partners and just say, hey, this is out of my scope, but I have a really good partner that I know can do this, or otherwise to other partners. Or if it's just something that is simple, I don't have the time for, I'll just say, hey, here's the link. I think that you'll be able to build this super easily. If you have any questions, let me know.
I had a same point, a real quick one. I have a unique take on that none of you will agree with, but it's how I operated, and it's why I'm good in community and not good in sales. When I was a partner, I was very successful. I made a lot of money as a partner. It was far more profitable than my full-time job, so I had a lot of clients. My rule to myself, in quick answer to your question, Jordi, was if it would take me the same amount of time to build it for them than it would to explain to them how to build it, I would explain to them how to build it. So I would inadvertently cost myself business in doing so. But if they're asking me to do something that takes half an hour and is super simple, and they're just scared to throw their feet in, I'd rather get them on base. So if it takes me half an hour to do a little PDF guide for like how to use a couple of the first prompts, and save myself so the $100 that I would have got from the job, I would just prefer to just onboard them and make them a builder. Now that is not good business advice.
No, it's okay.
But that was my approach.
No, that's good though. That's good.
Okay, guys, we have a short time, but I want to every one of you have free two minutes to give advice to the audience. Feel free to say whatever you want in 2 minutes. We start with the ladies first. Katie, what is the advice for the people?
I would just say go for it. Just whatever your idea is, just type it in and hit go and just see what it makes. That's what I did. I think that's the best way to learn is just do it yourself.
Just do it, like Nike.
Just do it, yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, my advice. I had some great advice. I was just thinking about it. My advice for people that want to get onto vibe coding, like Katie said, just jump on board. And then what you're going to want to do is, if you have questions, ask your builder. Your builder has all the answers for you that you're just going to go ahead and ask Discord. People are going to tell you in Discord, ask your builder. Your builder can help you with every little thing that you need help with. And if it can't, then sure, go ahead and ask the Discord. But we also have super agents. We have other agents that can do more advanced tasks. I've noticed that my super agent has more abilities than my regular builder. So there's also other routes that other people can go to if they are on base 44 to kind of get help. But I think the biggest thing is getting that idea into your head. And even if it's just a fun game for your kid, like me and my son's 5, and we just build games for him. We build vocabulary games, doodle jump games. I mean, just that's training him also on how to program and how to get into development. So, I mean, even if it's just a silly, fun little project, it's worth the time and it's worth the effort to learn, because there's going to be things that you'll learn in each little project and each little build that will stack on to your education. And I think that's the best part, is just getting in and building. If you don't get in and build, you're just going to go nowhere with the vibe coding.
Love it. Mr. Sack?
Yeah, I think you can start with what Katie and Andrew are saying, but I think eventually you have to turn it into a real process. It doesn't have to be like anything crazy, but one of the best things that I did before Base 44 was work with the development team. And so I kind of look at myself as a product manager now, where I understand a lot of the ins and outs that Sam was talking about with security. I'm not a security expert at all, but like I understand that I can use terms like multi-tenancy or permissions and access, and understanding like what type of RLS that we need for public facing things that are sharing to people at guests or that are a guest versus people that are internal in the system. So I think if you can get a little bit more process oriented and you actually maybe even run sprints yourself. So we have project management in our tool. And so I'll run sprints. Now, I think I got to amp up the number of things that I do in a sprint just because you can do so much so fast. But I think that if you're being a little bit more methodical, then what you're building, you're not going to get as distracted. Because, like, I mean, like Katie, like you were saying, like you can really build anything in Base 44 and as a vibe coder, but you have to kind of understand what it is that you want to build and then tell yourself no sometimes. So I think that's my biggest takeaway is don't try to do everything. Get like an idea, have a little bit of a process behind it and hold yourself accountable, and then learn the things that you don't do. Like one of the things I was going to say whenever Sam was talking was like, just like you would expect anybody else who builds a software that you use, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to do the work and they're going to learn the things that they need to build the right platform. You need to take it upon yourself to do that too. So you're giving the best product and software to the people that are going to use your platform. That's how I think about it.
I love it. Mr. Sam, T. Yeah, advice for the people. Both are.
I was just checking which Sam T. Yeah. I honestly, it's in my position. I've got 2 hours on this topic, so it's a bit of a problem.
2 minutes, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a problem. I would say I harp on to what everybody in here is, or echo what they say. Really. I would say beginner's advice. A lot of people come in and their MO is, how do I make money? I think that's a terrible objective to begin with. I think everybody's first build should be a passion project. It should be something you're building for yourself. The best builds you'll ever make on any platform will be builds where you're identifying and solving something that you want to solve. If you want to solve something, someone else wants it solved as well. So that's the best way to get your foot in the door. And then I'd say, I mean, like I say, I've got so many I could do here, but the second most important thing here is test your app as a user. Don't build your app and expect it to work for your users. Build your app and then use it as a user and identify everything that comes with that. Like, this solves every question that we get all the time. Like, how do I control integration credit spend? How do I make sure that I'm not spending too much money on, how do I make sure that I'm profitable on my subscription costs versus what a user is spending? There are so many answers by just saying, use your app, build it, publish it, go and do like a full end-to-end of it, how you would want a user to use it, and see how much it costs you to run. So I would say start on something you're passionate about, because it'll enable you to dig much deeper than going in with the MO of I want to make money. Yep. And then use it to make sure that it's ready for users.
That works. Sam, my dear co-host Talarico, what's your advice for all our people? You are in mute.
Sorry about that. My advice, and I'll keep it brief because I know Sam has to go soon. Just take that leap. Life is too short to be afraid of AI, to be afraid of what's changing. Those that don't adapt stay stagnant. Even if it's just one prompt a day, it's just one new feature a day, it's just even looking at something, take that leap. Base 44 has really changed my life, as has everything going on in the AI space. So, I mean, don't be afraid, take that leap, and you are going to go places.
I love it. I just want to ask a question that is a yes-no question for each one. It's the same question for everybody. If Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola came to you and say, hey, can you build my page? What do you say, Andrew? Yes or no?
Yes.
Katie? Sam?
Yeah.
Zach?
Yeah.
Sam?
Oh, yeah. And
Love
you?
it. Of course, yes. So, my friends, I love it. I love this project. I think we start as every project like, what? But I think this is going to be incredible. Maybe we can make a part 2 and speak another topics and bring more guests. But I think we have something. So I love you guys. Continue to build your project. I wish you the best luck. I think we are creating a good team, and we are ambassadors that maybe we can help each other through. Hey, Coca-Cola called me, Zach. Can you help me? Hey, Sam, I need security. So we're gonna continue. We're gonna see the link soon. And really, really appreciated that you came and your attitude and everything. I love you guys.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you both,
Jordi.
Sam and Jordi, for hosting this, and appreciate everybody else's time.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
see
see
you
you.
later.
Thank you all. And Jordi, always nice.
VibeCoders.
Bye.
A great first
Have a great day.